Hey Facebook, I'm back again for another Media Theology post, and tonight I'm actually in my garage, and there's a reason for that, so keep watching and I'll tell you what that is. Tonight I'm going to be speaking a bit more about transformers and proclaimers, and hopefully my internet holds out. I've been having all sorts of troubles, it's driving me crazy. I'm trying to get onto that, but there's not much I can do. So what I want to really just share about tonight is on transformers and proclaimers. But again, don't forget, tag a friend. Welcome all you new likers that have jumped on the page recently, just in the last few days. Great to have you along, and I hope you find some value. Don't be afraid to comment, leave a question or something like that below. Look, this is a space where I don't expect everybody to agree with everything I have to say. Feel free to pull me up, disagree with me. Hey Marty, thanks for the like, mate. Great to have you on board. Pull me up and just question what I'm saying. Don't take everything I say for granted. So why I thought I needed to jump on and talk a little bit more about transformers and proclaimers was you can look at yesterday's video, and there's a great comment there from Dan, who's from Mark 4 Media. So check that out. I'm going to leave a link below to his Facebook page and that, so you'll be able to go and check out what he's about and what he does. It's really cool what they're doing. But, like he said, look, he's developing this media company, and there's three key questions that they're wrestling with. Is the content they produce something that honours God? Is the content something that they produce that can spark dialogue? And is the content they produce, and I love this one's awesome, Dan, really love it, is the content something that doesn't replace the personal? Like giving you a cop-out. Oh, I don't need to do this anymore because we've got, this video that can do it for us. So that's a really good one, because I think too much Christian media has kind of thought, well, if we can just use the media, different media formats to do this, then we don't need to do it on a personal level. And that's not the biblical picture of the church at all. So that's really cool. Love that one. The thing that I'm a little bit, why I think I need to talk a little bit more about transformers and proclaimers is because, Dan, when you're saying, look, we really want to fall into this transformer mindset, it's probably my fault. I probably didn't explain it well yesterday, but that's actually more of a proclaimers mindset. Now, proclaimers and transformers aren't negative terms at all, and it's not bad to be one or the other. I'm not saying that at all. It's just that in terms of where I got these terms from, the guys that used these terms, they wrote this book called Prophetically Incorrect, and that's why I'm in my garage, because it's really annoying, because you know where my library is at the moment? Yeah, it's in those boxes somewhere in there, and I'd really love to get it out, but where we're renting at the moment, I don't really have the space to have it out. So that book is inside there, but I was able to just chase a few things up today to make sure what I was sharing is good tonight. The Transformers is really about people that want to just take the content that's created out there, not label it as Christian or secular. They're not really asking questions about, does this honour God, like you're asking, Dan, with the stuff you're doing. It is more about, does it provoke dialogue? And is this going to draw people into the dialogue? And so is this something I can use just to get a conversation started, and out of that conversation, share with people about the Christian faith in different ways? So it's content focused, but it's not worried about the content so much. So if there's violence and gratuitous sex and those kind of things this is where transformers can fall into a little bit of trouble, because they can start to think, well, any sort of content's fine to watch, because as long as I can get a conversation started out of it, that's a positive conversation, it doesn't really matter what I consume. Now, I would think you need to be careful on that space. That's just my personal opinion. Proclaimers, very much about wanting to make sure what they create is God-honouring, and they're much more about saying, okay, we've got these different media formats we can now use, like video and radio and television that we have. Now we've got online video and things like that, and they're about saying, how can we use that from a Christian content perspective? So both are very much content focused. Hey, thanks for the like there too, Lachlan. So either proclaimers and transformers are very content focused in what they're doing. One just is happy to use whatever content is out there. and the other is much more focused on making sure the content they create, they see, meets those Christian standards. So that's the two kind of really different spaces. I think, still in that space, transformers can still be Christians that are happy to make content that maybe Christians would feel a little bit uncomfortable with. So it can be difficult to get funding and support from Christian people because, it might have swearing in the film, or it might have, drug use, or it might have something, say if it's a film or a book or a poem or whatever, that makes, doesn't carry all those kind of, what I think Dan, in the questions he's asking, is referring to, look, is this a really God-honouring thing, which is a good question to ask if you want to be in the proclaiming space as well. So I don't want to ramble on too much about that. So that's really what it's at. The one thing I wanted to raise out of this that Woods and Patton talk about is we need to be careful not just to look at the actual content of things. So that's probably a video for another day. But we've got to look at the different systems that are around those things as well, not just the content, and label the content. So look, that's it that I wanted to touch on today. Transformers, all about using the content that gets created, not so worried about where that content comes from or what's in that content, so long as it can spark a good conversation. And on the other hand, proclaimers, really focused on making sure that the content carries God-honouring content, if you will, content that would be seen to resonate, and so no language, no filthy language, no sex scenes, limited violence, those kind of markers. Tomorrow, throw some questions below and stuff, but tomorrow I really want to touch on something out of yesterday's video as well, and what I want to talk about is hopelessness and storytelling for Christians. So the role of hopelessness in storytelling. So if you've got a question around that, be sure to throw it down below. If you think there's someone that would love to kind of hear what I've got to say about that, don't forget to tag them. I can smell my rice that I've been cooking just about ready to eat, so I'm going to go and grab my family and we're going to sit down and have that rice. I'm on a tight timeline tonight.